really, in my view, replaces that real word that seems to sort of bore people to death, and that's governance, corporate governance or any sort of governance. But what's behind all of this is, if we're to achieve good governance, just good governance in ourselves, the people that we work with and for, and the organizations that we operate in, then these slides, I think, and particularly this thesis of living with change so that we become inherently capable. So it doesn't matter. Whatever we walk out that door into, we should feel confident and competent that we can deal with it, rather than the fear. Yeah? When I got up this morning, I had no idea how Karachi was going to be. But what I did know was I was going to be able to deal with it. And I wasn't scared of it. And I knew I was going to come here. Okay? Just an example. So, anybody want to test my snooze indicator? Okay. Right, before I stop, perhaps I'll beat the chair. Any questions? Anything anybody would like to ask, please? So, somebody's awake. Give me a chance to have a glass of water.
My name is Adil Anwar. My question is that the problem we have here in this country, and I'm sure it's everywhere, is not actually initiating change. The problem is how you actually manage the change process and how you implement that. So as a CEO of your organization, what actually are the usual tactics you use when you are propagating the change process within your organization? And then how you ensure that it is cascading down to the bottom tiers of the organization, and how you actually gauge that process? That's my question. Thank you.
Good question. Yes? Well, Les will tell you, until performance improves, the flogging continues. So that's one way you can threaten people. No, I've actually got a very simple theory in life, and that is that you've got to walk the talk, as they say. You've got to demonstrate to people that you yourself are committed to this, and you're prepared to do it yourself. Take the lead. Like this morning, jumped down here, down with you, walked around and said, would you please stand up, would you please go around the table, sorry, it's the wrong way round, go the other way, joined in with you. That's the way to do it. I think if I sat up there, you're a fairly compliant audience, I think. You might have done it, but I think it wouldn't have worked very well. Just by coming down with you and doing it with you, you did it, okay? That wasn't a trick, that was simply showing involvement. So my personal view is, that's the way. Other people have got different methodologies. I say, I'm not an expert, and I occasionally have success, so I'm simply sharing with you that I tend to find that successful. And that works all the way through. So if I can get my managers to work as a team, and we've not talked about team because that really wasn't the thesis for today, but when you have an organization, in my view, they will really only work if people operate as teams. So you have a management team. But there's no point having a management team if it's just a bunch of people like these guys up here on the table, but they work in silos. You know what I mean by silos? Yeah? Doesn't work. And there has to be this trust amongst all the team that they can share information, they can share their problems. Okay? And so personally, this is the way I do it. It's by frontline leadership, by getting involved, demonstrating to people that I want to work as a team, share my values and don't be scared of that, and also have our high expectations from the team. And at the end of the day, my view is, look, you work for an organization. The organization presumably gives you a fairly good remuneration package, opportunity, career, etc. And whilst we want individual contribution from people, if at the end of the day you can't sign on to some of these major factors and there's an absolute refusal, well, the door's over there. In fact, I'll tell you that in my career, I've worked with some of the most cleverest people that have got brains bigger than this building. And no doubt they've got a major contribution to make to life. But they were so smart and so clever, they simply could not operate in a team environment. And they couldn't take aboard some of the issues there for the organization. And we had to lose them. They had to move on. They're making great contribution elsewhere, but they couldn't work in the organization. Therefore, for the organization, they were completely worthless. In fact, they were worse than worthless. They were damaging. So beware of the people that you might have that are incredibly clever, because they're probably in the wrong organization. I mean, again, going to HR theory, I'm sure you know, they belong in star organizations. These are surgeons, doctors, where you don't really manage them. You simply manage the environment in which they're in, and you let them get on with their job. Does that sort of explain? I'm not going to give you a line by line.
What you're suggesting is using the right the mix of structure and power to actually enforce the change. You have to win the hearts of people.
Indeed. Yeah.
Usually what happens is that people accept the change that's coming from the top tier, right? Would wait for the time till the influence of the top tier gets diluted, and then would then come back to the old behavior after some time. That's what happens typically in a corporate organization. So how do you ensure that it's more deep-rooted?
Well, I think as a leader you have to be brave. I mean, my personal view, and I think Leslie would probably agree with this, she'll find me that I'll get involved all the way down. I treat everybody in the organization pretty much the same.
Okay.
I mean, the man in the toilet who's doing the cleaning, he's pretty important, think about it. I know people treat them badly, but if he doesn't do his job properly, we're all in deep doo-doo. Huh? Yeah? He has a contribution to make. Treat him well. You know, he's a member of the team, okay? I mean, Leslie will also tell you that when I last came back to Karachi and I found that people were being a little bit abusive, if you like, with the time they came into the office, because we weren't really on flexi time as yet. And there was all sorts of times people came into the office and I asked, look, could we try and get to this rather better standard? So what I did one day was I sat in reception and I was reading the paper. And when 9 o'clock came, and I said good morning to people as they came through, I said the same good morning to other people at 9:45. Good morning. I didn't say anything, but you should have seen the horror and embarrassment on their faces. That's what I'm talking about. You don't have to beat people, but the sheer fright. Yeah? And generally, I say generally, things have improved. And from time to time, you have to do it again to reinforce. So it's reinforcing behavior. It's demonstrating. But again, I'm not going to ask people to come into the office on time if I'm not there myself. In fact, generally, I'm the first person in except for the caretaker, because if the caretaker is not there, I can't get in anyway.
Great. Can I have we have any more questions? Anyone else? Yeah. There's a lady here.
Good morning. My question, I will just carry on this gentleman point ahead. Like, you are the CEO of the company and you are the one who's in authoritative power. But what if some HR manager on an initial level wants to bring some change, and the people sitting on the executive table, 3 or 4 of them are the killers. They will just kill your idea and will say this won't work, and shows the ROI of this thing, this implementation or this invention. So up till now, I think if the CEO of the company has the HR perspective or has that HR mindset, he will follow. Otherwise, it gets very difficult to make people understand your point of view and how it will help your employees or someone. So in that case, what can we do?
It is
we
from
can't change our CEO or something. We have to.
I think it is from the heart of the HR.
No, I completely recognise what you're saying, and I'm sure this must be a common theme. Well, you can say to the CEO, "Look, the door's over there," but he'll say, "Yes, well, you can go through it if you like." Look, that is a difficult one, but there are times. Look, when the CEO may not accept some really good idea to the point. I mean, let me take it right to the end of the argument. What if the CEO is not listening to his management team, his expertise, particularly in the HR field, where maybe there's a major strike coming up because people are just so unhappy, the conditions under which they're working, the CEO is effectively not giving the right signals, they're feeling very undermined and uncertain about the future. And all of this points to the fact the company could collapse. It could fail in its mission, in whatever it's doing. Now what are you going to do? Are you going to sit there and watch it fail? This is where some of these factors, in my view, come in. And again, what I would advise is if you're working as a team, which you probably are in a management team or whatever, and you have other colleagues who agree with you, as devastating as it may seem, you may have to go round the CEO. In fact, Leslie will tell you that I have confirmed with the management team of Hubco that they have full access to the chairman, who doesn't live in Pakistan. For that reason, there has to be a check and balance. I mean, I do admit being a CEO is a pretty powerful position, but it doesn't mean to say it's the ultimate power. Okay? And the CEO has responsibilities as well. My view is if such a situation does arise, and I know it's personally threatening, but at the end of the day, what's the worst thing could happen? And most shareholders and most chairmen who want the company to survive will thank you for trying to work a solution. Now, clearly what you've got to try and do is at least demonstrate that you've done your best to convince the CEO. But if you fail, quite frankly, I know it seems a bit like mutiny, but if the management team feel the same way as well and they share your views, then you've got no option in my view. In fact, you've got a responsibility to the owners of the company. Remember, although the CEO has very specific fiscal and legal responsibilities, it's very rarely he's the owner. In fact, I don't own a single share in Hubco, not a single one, so I'm not the owner. I'm the representative. But that doesn't give me the right to wreck the company. It's not my job. At the same time, recognising the weaknesses, I've actually said to the team and confirmed with the chairman, that link is there, if they wish.
Can we have a view from, so please, we have time.
Well, actually it's not a view, it's a question too. I think it's the lady has touched a very important point, and it is a concern I know from all the HR managers and even the people at the junior level. And I'll ask Vince the question that, in situations like this, would you advise your HR to, whenever they make a proposal or recommendation, they actually think through the constraints and restraining forces of the top tier management, look into their concerns, why is it that they would not like to accept the proposal, align your proposal with the goals of the CEO and the top management and the company. And if you have done all that and the proposal has some good business sense, then have you done a good marketing and selling for this proposal? Because in all fairness, a CEO and the management team will really appreciate if there is a substantial value addition in a proposal, or if a value addition in a proposal that really makes business sense. It will be very naive on their part to just to throw it out because it has come from a younger person. So from the HR team and the younger generation of HR who are far more capable with technology and knowledge, they will always feel this resistance because I'm the older man, wise man, and I know it all. So this thing, I think, Venus, if you think that perhaps the HR is advised to think through all the obstacles that will come, look into the personality, do some kind of analysis of the people sitting there, how do you think they will react, and you are proactively thinking and coming up with solutions to manage each one of those people, and your proposal has actually a concrete value. Would you suggest this will help, sir?
Well, I think you've answered your own question, Zafar. Thank you very much. You put that very eloquently. I think you've got to be confident in yourself that you've put forward the most compelling case